going on, guys? JD at JD's Custom Buggies. Up here for our second 10-day stint at the track. So this is my buddy Scott.
Hey.
My quad racing buddy. So we're down here. We got a bunch of people coming. My buddy Gray's coming. Got a couple things going on. Gonna show you in a little bit. But right now we just pulled in. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning, and is it 8? Is it later?
9:30 now.
Oh, it's 9:30 now. Time flies when you're having fun, but we just got the trucks unloaded. It did rain here, so it's a little messy, so we all know about the driveway mess. Eventually I gotta get some stone poured into this place. So I gotta go out and run an errand, and gotta show Scott how to use my tractor right now. We're gonna make some firewood, but it should be a whole fun week. I think we're gonna get a lot done, so we shall see.
I saw it. I was waiting for you to fucking hit it. She's still going? brake. JD with JD's Custom Buggies out here running a big dozer. Send it! How do you feel about this? How do you feel about this?
I don't know yet. We'll find out.
Success. do it for the gram. Yeah, get the fuck out of the way.
You're not helping.
You're supposed to help him when he flips over. Straighten the wheel. Straighten the wheel.
Straighten the wheel. Go straight back. Straight back. Straighten the wheel. Straighten the wheel. Go straight back. Straight back. Big eyes, you practice with them, you get done from it. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, one-handed, looking backwards like.
Shit just grinding
Yeah.
going.
He drove down the side of the mountain though, so he don't care.
What's happening, guys? JD at JD's Custom Buggies. It's Sunday morning. We're up here in beautiful Tennessee. We've been here for just about 10 days. Did another stint up here to try and get the property all together. Fortunately, had a lot of help. Want to thank a lot of people. Dave Abel, one of the MBX guys, came up. My buddy Scott Comtos, he came up here for a few days. Ben Wall, Gray Slaughter spent a week with us, my best friend. So we got a lot done. Could have been more. The week had its ups and downs, and I'll try and give you a recap and go through all that with you. We actually got a little riding in. We took we brought the Razors and did a day up at Windrock. I haven't been there since like 2015, so it was fun. We actually made it up, had to kind of back out of a trail. I got some phone video that I'll incorporate into this. We actually had to back down. It was so badly washed out. So some of the backing out was kind of fun and hairy to watch, but not too bad. So we, I ended up purchasing a dozer. You'll see that was what I thought would be the game changer, and I'll go through all that with you. And then, like I said, it'll be a series of pictures and some videos of the course of the week. So we give you a quick look while we're here, and we'll go through the downers of the week. So we found this dozer. I was looking, actually, my original plan was to grab another skid steer with wheels and a grapple, and figure we can knock down the trees with this guy and have the other one pick it up. It's just that the tractor, which we have locked up right now, the tractor's just, it's too rutted out for the tractor to really be able to go everywhere on the track. So my plan was to buy a skid steer, maybe a small dozer, see if I could find a used one for about 10 grand a pop, you know, a couple of used ones. And I was going to buy the dozer up here. I seen a couple for around 10 grand that, you know, they're smaller. So I ended up, if you could see the size comparison, I found a broker in Tampa and while looking for a skid steer, and he steered me, you know, we were talking, and he's like, well, if you're looking for a dozer, I know someone who's got a good deal. And basically what a broker is, and this whole heavy equipment thing, buying things sight unseen, is new to me. But she's a 1980 John Deere 750 dozer. The listing that was up was basically, it was ready to work. We had a hard time. I went to Tampa Thursday morning, the day before we left, and it had a hard time getting on the trailer. I met the Friday morning. It pulled up here. Basically, had to get all kinds of weight and wide load permits or whatnot. It costs a little bit of money to transport one of these up here. So they got it off the trailer. Again, it took about 20 minutes just to get this thing to move off the trailer. It didn't seem like it wanted to move. The motor starts right up. The blade went up and down, and gave it a hard time. Just kind of getting it to move. It seemed like he could get it to move if he throttled and put it in forward and backwards. And it's, you know, I don't even know. I'm not a dozer aficionado. I just learned how to ride this thing this week. Goes about with every heavy equipment. This is my first experience, other than with a farm tractor. This is my first experience with any of this stuff. So, long story short, we started messing with it. We got it to idle up, and then figured out that if it was basically throttle all the way down with the idle up, she would move pretty good. And that was after the driver left. So I felt bad for the driver because he actually had a hard time. So we were able to transport this because over there, you see next to the telephone pole, there's a 10-foot root rake. This is a 12-foot blade. So with the blade on there, the blade's a lot heavier. We were worried about weight, so I actually transported the blade, and that's why I ended up in Tampa to get the blade loaded on a trailer. So then we swapped them over while we were here. So you could get the thing to move. My buddy Gray, he's pretty good with working on this kind of stuff because he does it for a living. But started looking at it, and come to find out, I believe it's over here on the ground. I just ripped it off and threw it over here. But this is the throttle cable. And it turns out when you pull the throttle lever, that this cable is so frayed, it was just basically blowing, expanding, and, you know, contracting. It wasn't really moving. So this cable was toast. The other thing was, so then we fixed that. She ran pretty good. Then we ran into a couple other issues with it. The hydrostatic fluid. So there's a tank on here with hydraulic fluid to move the arms up and down, and that arm right there needs to be repacked. It leaks, but it works fine. The other thing is hydrostatic fluid. Hydrostatic fluid is basically a hydraulic fluid that runs the transmission. So the hydrostatic cooler that's behind the grill next to the radiator, she leaks like a sieve. We went and topped it off, found out what kind of hydrostatic I need, and bought 4 buckets of it at $140 a bucket. So 4 5-gallon buckets. So she holds 30. I dumped 20 in there. Come to find out, the thing leaked so bad while we were out on the track with it that I ended up buying another 6 buckets because we didn't know how much we need. And ended up just for temporary till I can find another oil cooler, which I'm probably going to try and retrofit some universal one in there, because the ones I found online are all about the same price at $4,100 a piece. Not to mention that the throttle cable, $270 part right there. That's the most expensive cable I've ever bought in my life, I think. So at $4,100, I'm going to try and find something that will fit the bill, that we can just, as long as it fits in the hole and the lines hook up, that's good to go. So what we did temporarily is we took the 2 lines with the coupler, bypassed the oil, the cooler, and ran it that way. The downside of that is you could get about an hour of work out of it, and then had to stop and let it cool down, which would take a couple hours, because, you know, hot oil doesn't cool down very, very fast. So we get like maybe two stints out of it for about an hour a pop. But those hours were pretty good. Considering the blade's 12 feet, you're killing a path of 12 feet of trees and knocking them out of the ground at once. So I'm just not I had a little bad luck with the skid steer the first time I brought it up here. And what ended up with that is I ended up just deleting it, just like people do with their diesel trucks. And she ran like a champ all week. We had a couple of issues with the track coming off on one side. We don't know if it's leaking down the tensioner or what. But my buddy Scott was driving it for the first couple days. He was here, and he left. I want to say Wednesday. But in those days, we had issues with the track coming off. Didn't have an issue yesterday. It slipped on me once, and I was able to drive it back on, and it slipped back on. It turns out that the tensioner was a little loose. Oh, and I'm sorry. That was the troublesome side for Scott. I'm sorry. I knocked it off on this side. So that was just probably the track stretched a little. And once we got it back on, I was able to do it by driving. We just had basically the tensioner just fills with grease and it tightens the track. So other than that, the machine performed pretty damn well. I bought a stump bucket for this. It's back on the trailer. I got to take it home and fix it. Scott knocked the center tooth off of it. It's got a stump bucket is, for those who don't know, I got it loaded on the trailer now. So the stump bucket is just like a pointy bucket with 3 teeth on there that rips trees out of the ground. You just kind of poke it under the tree and it pops them up, and it did an exceptional job. I just bit off a little more than I could chew with a bigger one, and what happened is I bent that lip up, and the bucket actually came off the skid steer. I was able to retrieve it and pull it back out and bring it back. So I'm gonna have to do something with that lip to straighten it out, but I think I can reinforce it and it won't happen again. This grapple over here, I had purchased 2 grapples. One is on a skid steer now, and this one, for some reason, it doesn't fit the tractor or the skid steer, so I'm gonna end up taking it back. We didn't end up using it at all. I don't know why. It seems to be too wide, so it slides back and forth, wider than every other implement I've got. And then when the pins go down, there's pins on the tractor and the skid steer that lock the bucket into place. There's a lot of slop in there. It's like the pins don't grab it. So I don't know what's so different about this. I wasn't really aware that there's different size deals, and I'm not so sure they're supposed to be. My options are take it back. I spent a good money on it, so I'm just going to do that because it wasn't used at all. Had I used it for some reason, then I would probably just weld up some stuff to take up the slack and make, fill the holes and, make everything fit a little tighter. So I'm just going to return that. Hopefully we can get a different grapple or, different. I might just trade it for a different implement. This grapple works great on this machine. We had it on a tractor for a bit. But again, with the ruts on the track, the skid steer is just able to walk over a lot of these ruts where the tractor wheels just fall in. So it was a lot quicker. So while I was out there with the stump bucket, we did have the grapple on the tractor for a little bit, trying to pile up stuff where the tractor could get to. And then once I was done with the stump bucket, I switched implements and basically put this grapple on and went to town. So as far as the dozer goes, the dozer's got a lot of potential. I'm just a little disappointed because, I wouldn't care if I knew what I was buying. If they said, hey, this cable's broke, this cooler leaks, and there was some other stuff too, actually. So this that joystick there works the blade up and down, and then if you move it side to side, it slews the blade. Basically tilts one side of the blade to the other, so as far as the angle of the blade, you have to manually change it because it's old. So these different holes here, these arms, if you want it to tilt one way, you basically move the arm on the other side up one hole and move this arm back one hole, and that tilts it. But as far as up and down angle, like you can make the blade dig in on one side, that basically works, that joystick works all that, up and down and side to side. And that wasn't even hooked up. There was a broken something in there, and this rod was just dangling. So the joystick was floppy on side to side. So we ended up coming up with this at a hardware, a little piece of like some sort of angle bracket thing. We rigged that up because first I ordered 5/16 time joints on Amazon. And it was supposed to get here like Wednesday or something like that. And then when we went back to the John Deere dealer to get cable, I ordered these joints. And basically, it was hard to tell from the picture, but it's just a 5/16 Heim joint. And so my $8 Heim joints from Amazon, instead of coming on Wednesday, all of a sudden, when I went to check the status, went to November 29th. So I canceled that order. Went back the next day to get more hydrostatic fluid in the Heim joints and some other parts, and come to find out I paid $70 a piece for two basically 5/16 Heim joints that were just standard Heim joints. So that was working good enough for now. We never got to replacing it, but I do have two of those parts. But live and learn. Had I known this was going to work so well, I wouldn't have ordered those parts, and I would just go to the shop and grab a 5/16 Heim joint, which I pretty much have a lot of there. So ups and downs, and then we had one problem with the skid steer. One of the times where the track came off this cover here, Gray noticed that one bolt was backed out and the other one was kind of tight. He went to turn the backed out one in and it was froze up. So went to tighten, make sure the other one was tight, and it just snapped off. So we drove it up here, and then basically it was because our hardened bolts, it was a feat and a pain in the butt, but we were able to drill it out and get the bolt out and retap it, and it just took a while. It was a process, so it ended up being like you would think it'd be a simple job, but probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours right there. And then, so one day we were completely down working on the dozer, trying to bypass the cooler and this and that and the other thing, and then working on this. We were originally going to try and fix the leak the cooler with JB Weld, but it was leaking in multiple spots, so it just got to be too much. So we ended up bypassing it. So it's been, like I said, ups and downs. What I was gonna say before is if this thing, was ready to work, and I'm talking about not catastrophically leaking hydrostatic fluid, she wasn't really ready to work. And that's where it comes into the disappointment. I understand buying used stuff, but if you're listing it and you're saying that the thing's ready to work, it should be ready to work for at least a day. Not do a bunch of stuff. So I've got pretty much, not including the transport, but I mean, just in parts and running back and forth and stuff, I probably got about $2,000 into getting this thing running, with all the back and forths that we did, for parts and stuff, to get it to where it will run an hour at a shot, before it got hot. Not disappointed because those hours were pretty good, but had this thing ran the whole week, results would have been much different. So let me kind of show you around and see what we got going. I'm probably gonna put some video and stuff, and then we'll take some of stuff during the week and some pictures, and then I'll take you on a tour of what we got done as far as the end result of the trek for this week. All right, so let's take a quick ride around. First place we'll go, I'll take you up before I show you the main track. We'll go take a look at the Pee Wee track. So we'll go for a quick ride up there. Big pile of Christmas trees that got bigger through the course of the week. So this is where we were working the first time we were here, and I showed you that we were clearing out. So it's a lot more clear now. We got this island of trees out of there. Pretty much in a pile. We'll probably have to condense the pile into a little tighter of a package. So probably just consider burning it up here. So if you remember, I think I took you guys past this point. But this is where the Pee Wee track will be, supposed to be, and we got a lot of that cleared out too. And that's what about an hour of dozer will do if it's running good. So you can only imagine if this thing had ran consistently all week from day one, pretty much we'd be very close to where we needed to be, or wanted to be at least. So even beyond these trees here and down to those trees over there, that's pretty much going to be our Pee Wee track. And I'm probably going to use it for multiple things. So it'll probably be Pee Wee. I'm going to try and configure it or make it so, you can comfortably run a buggy at a good clip here on a smaller track, and then maybe some mini bike stuff. I'm not going to make the jumps too aggressive, just for like beginner and P-dubs and stuff like that. Something that a mini bike could probably handle, and maybe a buggy can just come up here and have fun or something. So, that's where we're at right there. But yeah, I mean, the dozer, I was out here with the stump bucket, and I almost feel like I was wasting my time at this point. I mean, a stump bucket's good for getting in places the dozer can't, or if you're close to a telephone pole or something like that and you need to kind of surgically remove a tree. But yeah, the dozer does it all. So we'll take a ride up that path there. You can see how much bigger this will be. Still have over there pretty much where the trees get thick over here, some space over here, and then if you go there by the big forest where all these trees are kind of light and thinner, we can mow all that down. So I mean, there's a good amount of room here. Should be a decent sized track. And then like I said, once we get the dozer running, we can kind of knock some more stuff down. The more stuff we knock down, the easier it is to see what you have to work with. Because it's just kind of tough right now with all the overgrowth. So we'll work our way back to the entrance gate now. The one entrance gate for the track. Alright, so this is the gate that I showed you guys before. And then you can see we were up here. There's a bunch of trees knocked down here too. So, one cool thing I'll show you over here, because I don't know how much battery we got left in this camera. You can tell, or if you can tell, but that's a hell of a downhill run. But that was originally part of the track. We ran the dozer up and down this, and but yeah, she goes down into a left-hand turn. I thought that's interesting. The elevation changes here are crazy. Nothing like I've seen in Florida. I've seen video of Gatorback. That's the only thing I have seen, and I don't know how much of the elevation, but it looked like drastic elevation changes at Gatorback. But this is some hella changes, so it should be interesting. All right, let me take you back to getting on the track. Let's turn around. All right, so before we go down to the track, we'll go down the path we made. I just want to give you an overall view from up here what's happening. So over here, you can see we knocked out all the bleacher boards, or at least most of them. Got all the trees that were growing out on this side. On this side, the trees are pretty much gone, but we need to knock the boards out. And at the end, the bleachers at the end, there's no trees growing. Fence line's pretty clear at this point. And then here's our track. You can almost see lines now. So next thing we'll do is go for a ride down there and kind of show you around. I don't know how much more confusing. It's much more apparent from up here than it is down there, especially if you've seen it for the first time. But you can see where the lines used to be in the track. I mean, it's all there. It's getting clearer and clearer the more trees that come down. So, kind of a cool deal. All right, let's take a ride down there. All right, so we're back up here by the track building. This washout here, we're filling up with the rocks, big rocks. So we actually found that one on the track, and we used the dozer to push it up the hill and slide it in that hole right there, and we'll just bury dirt around it. And hopefully this, eventually, as I find rocks and throw them in there, and then we'll just fill it in and that should hopefully keep everything from washing out like it did before. This trail here is basically a shortcut to get down to the track. There's two ways to get down. Further down the driveway there, make a right, and it basically comes down to that path there. Just a long way to go halfway down the driveway and make a right and come back, especially when you're on a slow crawler. So what we did, Scott had cleared a bunch of trees coming up this hill, and this hill was all washed out, and then Gray took the dozer and went up and down it a couple times, and basically made this nice path going down there. So take us down there. It's pretty good descent, but again, it's a lot easier than the alternative. Alright, we're down on the track right now. So this gate, or this fence line here, there had to be gates right there. Now I've looked all over for the concrete there. I mean, unless they're covered up, but as many times as I've run through here with a box blade, you would have thought I would have hit something, and I haven't yet. So, I mean, you only maybe grab a piece of rebarb and poke around in the ground till you hit something hard, but they're supposed to be right here in the pictures. So this is your gate, and basically that's your start stretch right there. You can see there's a bigger pile of trees here than up top. So I took the box blade to clean up all this. It looked like hay that was growing up in here. You can see right there. For the most part, you can kind of see where there was a track where before you could not. A lot of clearing, a lot of trees come down. So originally, my thought was to knock it all down, flatten it out, and start from scratch. And I've kind of changed my idea now, only because the makings of the track are pretty much here. There's a lot of lines that are still here, still left. You can see the berm right there. There's a berm turn right there. We can go down lower and I'll show you. But you can see between the trees there, another one going up between the trees there, and then coming back down over there. Apparently you were supposed to go up that and then turn up top and come back down that one. That's all washed out, needs to be filled in, at least to get those two to connect. There's still some trees up there that are knocked down. But yeah, I mean, it's not entirely not here. Might be some subtle changes, but for the most part, I think I'm just best off keeping it as it is, and working with what I've got here now. Maybe an extra turn here or there. The big problem is going to be, so basically you would come out of here, and that first step there, that's a straightaway going to the right, and then it hooks around, and then there's another step with a straightaway going to the left past the building, and then it hits a couple of big step-up jumps. Well, these two paths right here are completely washed out, need to be, and without the dozer, I mean, the dozer would be the way to go. And then up through those trees, where the step-up jump is, that would be that gate we just came from. So there's a lot of work that needs to go on in that corner. It's kind of treacherous right now. The best way to go about it would be to push dirt up with the dozer, take the trees down as you're going, to at least get a pathway to connect that part to this part. So that might be next time. You can see between those trees, what looks like kind of like a mountain over there. that's completely washed out. So there is a lot of work to do. But I feel that, you know, like I said, if the dozer had been operational all week like it should have been, we probably would have most of that cleared out. And a lot of those trees might have to come down with a chainsaw just because it might be too steep for anything to climb or get to the, but it was just, we didn't have the dozer operating like I thought we would. So I have a list of parts that I need to track down in order for this thing and try and get it fixed and go from there. But for the most part, it's pretty cool. I'll try and take you for a one-handed ride through what we got so far. A lot of these paths here are not track. They're just what I cleared out for the skid steer to have a smoother run to grab trees to bring them to the pile. So at the same time, it was picking up a bunch of roots. There's rake teeth on the box, so I pick up like a small tree like that one there and some grass and basically just push it in a pile over there. So it might get a little confusing because there's a lot of box blade trails through here. But that was just basically for utility's sake. So that's a track line there. This I just carved out with the box blade so we can get around. That's a berm turn that shoots you up there, and it looks like kind of a step up into a turn. And from what we can gather from old video, basically that's part of the track comes down into that turn to go back up the hill. It's kind of the same thing over here. It's another berm turn. The berm's built up. And we're thinking either comes down from there. We're not sure. We kind of lose direction. As we watch the video, it's easy to tell. And now I'll take you over to the uphill. There's a couple of cool lines over here, actually. We're not sure about this. I think this comes down from over there, comes back up, goes up there, comes back down on the other side. I know, it sounds confusing when I say it. But then there's a line, there's like a rhythm section over here. A couple of small jumps into a bigger jump over there. And I think that basically takes you back to the front straight. So, I mean, the makings of stuff is here. Dead end over here. So the big tall downhill you might be able to see, but let's see, there is that light pole there would be the bottom of it. So you can see it kind of gradually goes up, but I'm excited because it's a pretty cool track. It's nothing that we've got in Florida. I know for an MBX race, this would be fun. I mean, the elevation changes, especially the uphills, would definitely test you out. And a lot of that is just basically keeping, you know, your RPMs up the best you can. Some of the downhills, coming down that downhill, I know mine would be screaming. And then as far as, you know, bikes and quads, I mean, and it's cool because some of these jumps, they step down. It looks like if you hit it right, it'd be pretty good. So there's some old water towers up there too. That's a whole nother thing. Looking at some of the electrical here, I think I'm going to find a local electrician. Hopefully I can find the right guy who's fair, because the We tried to even rig up the water pump up there at the building just so we could have water up there. And apparently some meth head came and ripped all the wire out. In fact, I was talking to one of the neighbors, and he was telling me the story about him getting caught with all the wire laid out in the grass and whatnot. And that's what meth will do to you. But I've never seen anybody more productive than a meth head. I mean, to sit there and rip all the copper out of the conduits just to make you a couple bucks. If you could focus that energy elsewhere, makes you wonder. So, have a little bit of electrical issue at the house also, but that's gonna be a ton. And my plan is the upstairs of that is basically got all kinds of walls and stuff. I want to open that up and put a pro shop up there. So if I can get somebody just to wire the bottom, and then for now, so we can get the meter put in, get the well running, and then disconnect the upstairs. Because I want to basically gut the whole upstairs and redo everything. So we'll see. And then I'd have to have them come. There's 2 other meters. One's at that well, and one is at the well towers that are on the other side of those trees. So that all needs to be redone. Definitely gonna need irrigation here. It got dusty as all hell yesterday, so just box blading. So that's it. We are on the track. But yeah, we got a lot done. I mean, judging from the last video and the pictures that this should be a lot. Not bad for a week's work. Like I said, it only could have gotten better if the dozer had worked. So I can't thank everybody who came and helped enough. And you know, about to pack up and leave and get the press lock in the gate. So in the meantime, thanks guys for sticking with me, and wish me the best on this. I'm still nervous and overwhelmed and excited all at once. So, you know, sometimes, you know, I come here and I can't wait and get to work, and then halfway through the week it's like, what the hell am I doing? But no, at this point I'm just working for a dream. So want to thank everybody who came out and helped this week. I can't thank them enough. I mean, we did put a big dent in it. It's exciting. You know, just I would love to stay here another week and get more done if I could. In the meantime, time to head back to Florida and get back to work at the shop and basically gather up ideas and resources for the next trip up here to see how much damage we can do up here. So in the meantime, thanks for tuning in. If you like what you see, subscribe, hit the like button, and if you need parts, go to gotbuggies.com. All right guys, till next time, JD's out.